This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
I've often heard that one of the most important things you can do is ask questions. There's nothing wrong with it. Even seasoned salespeople are trained to ask a lot of questions. And of course, if somebody asks a question of you, if you don't have the right answer, there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, let me get back to you on that. Let me check on that. What questions should you be asking, first of all? And second, what are the wrong questions to ask in life situations in general? The wrong questions. We're going to focus on that today. She's a life coach, strategically a development life coach to help move your life forward. I have lots of questions. I don't know if they're right or wrong, but I'm gonna ask them anyway. Cindy Valente is back with us. How are you?
Good morning. Great. How are you?
Doing very well. I'm intrigued about what the wrong questions may be, and wondering if we're all asking the wrong questions and not getting the trajectory, the outcome that we're looking for.
Well, that can happen to all of us.
I'm afraid to say anything else. I was going to ask a question. I'm not even going to say. What's a wrong question?
Well, let me first of all start with my inspiration for this topic.
Sure.
So my inspiration for this topic, it came to me as I was sharing my morning, as I often do, with good friends and a bottomless cup of coffee. It's a super casual environment. So I was on my phone asking, and I'm going to spell it out so she doesn't get on my computer, SIRI. And I asked if you
I just got to pick that up. Yeah.
I didn't want my computer going nuts.
All I have to say is GOOGLE and my phone goes bling.
Right,
yeah,
exactly. So I'm back to kindergarten spelling.
Got it.
But so I asked SIRI a question, several, and after a few attempts not getting the answer I wanted, which we can all relate to that, I finally looked over to my friend and I said, I know what the problem is. I'm asking the wrong question. And so we all sat around and we realized that most of our lives, we are asking the wrong questions, because sometimes asking the wrong question is the most effective thing we can do. You heard me right. What if I told you the so-called question might be the very thing that answer you didn't even know you needed?
Got to process that for a moment. So read that last part again. Give me that again.
All right, let me make sure I get it right. So the so-called question might be the wrong question, might be the very thing that answer you didn't even know you needed.
By asking the wrong question?
Correct. So let me give you for an example.
Please.
So in my coaching, asking the smart question, the right question, can actually box you in. It's called mental coasting, when your mind operates in autopilot. I think we talked about that last week.
Mm-hmm.
So you disrupt the pattern. Say you want to change your career. What job should I apply for? Now imagine asking, what would I be doing if I was free from all expectations? That question doesn't aim for the obvious answer, but it aims for the real one.
It's almost as if the wrong question is really the right question.
Correct. Because it leads you to the wrong question can often mean that you're going outside of your bubble of always asking the exact same question. And you got to kind of be playful with it. And once you ask the wrong question and you keep getting the same answer, you've got to go to the right question and get a different answer, because we're all creatures of habit. We do the same things. We ask, what should I be doing? How should I be doing it? But if you change up the question and you play with it and just keep asking questions until you get something different, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I have that aha moment of, oh gosh, here we go.
You know what's interesting? I'm ready to send an email, and it's a very impactful email about a situation that we need to have some change on, business related. And there's lots of questions in it. Instead of me, here's my thoughts, here's where I'm at, I'm leaving it to the other person to answer the questions. Now, I know what the answers are or what they may be, but I'm kind of throwing it on them using questions. I kind of like the way it looked after I typed it.
There you
It's
go.
just a different approach as opposed to this is how I feel and this is the direction I want to go in. We're having a difference of opinion
Right,
um, or philosophy. So by throwing those questions out there, now it's on them to answer them. Let's see what comes back.
right,
Hmm.
right. So I'll bring a little part of my personal life into to
Sure.
my experience with that. So I had that podcast a while back, Surviving the Unsurvivable. So I kind of go back to that. So why, when I myself asked the wrong question, it changed everything for me. So 2 years ago, I found myself rebuilding my life from a life-threatening illness and many months in the hospital. You can imagine, I had a lot of questions. What was I trying to make while I was trying to make sense of my past, the trauma, the setbacks, the doubts? I kept asking, why did this happen to me? What did I do wrong? Why did I survive? And what am I going to do about it? All of this led to great frustration, obviously. But the breakthrough came when I asked a different or the right question. What is this experience trying to teach me? And that shifted everything.
Mm,
So it
mm,
turned my pain into purpose, turned my survival into reinvention. And I realized I didn't need to find something new. I needed to uncover what was already there inside me that I hadn't tapped into yet. What I've learned as a life coach and a woman who's had to change and rebuild her life more than once, it's not about having the right plan. It's about asking the right question.
mm. The lesson, realizing that there's a lesson in a situation is a hard lesson to learn. But once you're open to it and just letting it come to you, as much as you don't want to deal with it,
Mhm.
it's actually such a great thing.
Right. I mean, it can take you out of your own pity party because you keep asking the same questions. Why am I here? Why am I stuck? Why is my life not moving forward? Because you keep asking the same question.
Yep.
And so what happens when we don't ask the right question? We waste time solving the wrong problems.
And if you were to ask that question of yourself, well, all right, that happened. That was painful to go through.
Mhm.
What was the lesson there? What am I to learn from that? You're asking that question. It's got to be answered. There's and you got to challenge yourself to answer that question. A lot of
And
us like,
you have to dig deep into yourself and go outside of, do you really want to know the answer to that question? But you have to know the answer to that question if you want to move forward, or you can
right.
just stay stuck.
It almost turns into almost like a puzzle, a mystery
Mhm.
when you're at that moment. Yeah, because
Oh,
you
absolutely.
don't want to submit to it. You don't want to say you're
Right.
miserable.
Right. And sometimes people like to be miserable because it makes them feel better and and they don't want to get out of their own way, basically. But how long do any of us want to actually be stuck there, even though it's easier? It's easier to be stuck. It's comfortable. It's what we know more often than not.
Yes, yes. Wrong questions. What else can you share with us?
So I'll bring in a client that I had. So this client said, I want to be more productive, get more done. And I said, what if that's not the question? Because the real question wasn't about productivity. The question was, why am I avoiding the life I say I want? So it's same question, just worded differently. And so wrong questions keep us circling the airport. The right ones clear the runway. It's not magic. It's truly just in your mindset.
Can
And
you
that's
say that
why.
again? The part about the airport, that analogy. What was that?
So wrong questions keep us circling around the airport. The right ones clear the runway
Hmm.
because
How do
we
you,
continue to ask the same one over and over again.
well, how do you know it's the right question? Is it because you're asking the same one over and over again and not really getting a useful answer.
Well, I think the right question leads you to a different result. It takes you out of, because if you continue to ask the wrong question, you're going to get the answer you want, the comfort zone. But if you ask a different right question, it will take you to where you want to go, even if it's uncomfortable. And that's where you really ultimately want to go anyway. You're asking the same question, you are getting the same result. Change up your question, change up the result.
I'm feeling that you'll know when it's the right question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
Like
all of a sudden
it's
you're going to have that aha, oh gosh, okay, this was so easy. Why didn't I think of that before?
it's almost as if the fog is going to clear instantly. Like, oh, why didn't I ask that before? Why didn't I look at
Right,
it that way before?
right.
Hmm.
I think having those aha moments in life it propels you to have more. Just like if you compliment somebody on something that they know they do and they think they do it well and you compliment them, truly just sit back and listen because they will go on about how they got to being successful, productive, because that's what they know and it's where it's taken them. And they too have had to take the path of, why am I stuck? Why am I still doing the same thing? Why is my business not going where I want it to go? How do I propel my life forward?
Hmm.
And you have to change what you're doing. I mean, just like when any of us say anything, we know what we're already saying. But if we want to learn something, we have to stop and listen.
Well, it goes back to what you said earlier. I truly believe that when you ask the questions that aren't going to support you, it's an autopilot question. You're not
Right.
really intentionally looking for the answer. Maybe you're avoiding the answer, and that's why you keep asking that question.
It's safe.
It's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah,
It's hard to get out of the safe zone.
and if you ask the question, it's almost like the bullet in the gun. You pull the trigger, it's out there. You can't
Right.
put it back in. And
Right.
there's going to be a result from firing a bullet, no matter what it is,
Right.
just like a question. There's going to
Right.
be an answer. So we got to be prepared for the answer.
Yeah. Right.
Mm.
So
Wow.
you do have to just play with it. I mean, get a, journal it, go write down the question that you always ask. And then, I mean, Google it, chat GPT it, change it up, get some new ideas if you feel stuck and see where that leads you. I
It,
think.
it it's almost like being in a relationship. And let's say you've been together for a while, and you're always talking about, well, we have great times together, right? Yeah, we really do. Just I love spending time with you. Yeah, I really do. And you kind of just back to the airport. You're just
Right.
circling. Now comes the question: do you love me? And you got to be prepared for the answer. But when you get that answer, the plane is going to take off in a certain, or it's going to land or whatever. It's going to
Right.
go in a certain direction. So it could be the direction you wanted, could be a direction you weren't really anticipating, but you are going to go in a direction once you ask that question. But like, do you want the answer? You
Right.
know?
Or you're leading them to lie.
Ooh.
Well,
Ow, ow. Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Well, you're enabling them.
That's right. That's a
Oh,
better
well,
way
are
of
you
saying
saying
it.
that you asked that question, do you love me? Um, are you saying that they could lie?
We all could lie.
No, of course. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you put somebody on the spot, they become defensive.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't remember the power of the pause.
But the power of the pause is your answer too.
That's exactly right. So I actually have something on that with relationships.
Sure.
So why do we ask the question that we already know the answer to? So have you ever asked, should I leave the relationship? Should I leave my job? Should I change where I'm living? Deep down, you already know the answer.
100%.
So we seek validation. We're always looking for support. We're afraid to act. Fear is the power stall tactic.
It all comes back to fear.
Right.
Yeah.
But here's the truth. You already know more than you give yourself credit for
Yep.
sure. And what answer am I pretending not to know? And start trusting the answer you already have.
We know the answer to everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Everything.
That's right.
It's within us. Either
But
we're
we want
afraid.
validation, support.
Yes, but I think a couple of things come into play. You don't want to deal with the answer because you know what the answer is. So that's over
Right.
there. And then the other half of it is the answer is within you. You can't hear it because you've got so much going on. You're not even listening. And I'm not even talking about that heavy question. Do you love me or where are we going with this relationship or anything? Believe me, I can relate to that. But when it comes to that other stuff, where should I go there this weekend? Should I do this? Should I do that? You're not getting the answer because you've got too much going on. You need to sit and listen. You need to sit and listen. We don't do that. We just don't. We're too busy.
Well, we think we're too busy. I think we try to be too busy so we don't have to think about what we should be doing, want to be doing.
Well, that's a really great point. We could be very busy, but also we could be busy because we're making ourselves busy because we don't want to listen to the answer.
Right. It's so simple, isn't it?
It is.
Except we complicate simplicity.
And
we
even
all do that.
the answer is also mostly, I believe, your intuition. And, how many times can you think back in your life how you went against the answer? You knew what the answer was. I mean, guilty as charged. I can go back 30 years. I could tell you where I was standing, angle of the sun, the month, the day. I already know. It's like, and I see myself there, and I knew what the answer was, but it was like you're too far into a situation where it's like, well, yeah, it's gonna be all right. I'll just go with it. You knew the answer. It's
Right.
all there.
And that's what you defend yourself because you don't want to branch out and go. So it's just a vicious cycle of, well, this is not working, but it feels fine. It feels comfortable. It feels safe. We'll go with it. It's hard to go outside of your routine. We all have the routine. I mean, just like you go to the grocery store, you go down the same aisles, get the same things, and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It is surprising how, I mean, when I was putting all my notes together for this, and I thought I had to bring myself into it because I did too ask the wrong question and it kept me stuck and frustrated. And I thought, I can't keep going on like this. I've got to get out of this. How am I going to do that? And I went, oh, okay. What's this going to do for me? Why, instead of why me, the victim? And it really was, I mean, from that day on, I just stuck with that plan. I've got to just keep going this direction. And it does open up your world to realizing, asking yourself different questions. They're not always going to be right. Sometimes they're just going to be silly, but that doesn't mean that that's wrong either. It just means that you're thinking outside the box, and it starts that, your mind's playground is your creativity. So, go into that part of your brain that, I don't think I'm very creative, but I have to get into that creative mind to get outside of my own way.
So, woo alert coming. Have you ever asked the universe for an answer? Just threw it out there.
Have I?
Yeah.
Probably. I'm sure I have.
I'm a big proponent of that.
Yeah.
Ask for an answer. Ask for a sign.
I did actually when I was going through when I was coming back to life a couple of years ago, I was asking the universe, what in the world just happened? And now what? I think I asked now what so many times, and it led me to life coaching. So I think that was, I mean, of course, I didn't love going through all that experience, but what came out of it was gigantic. So to say, All those why me moments were monumental for me because I kept saying the same thing and I was getting nowhere. So I had to get outside of what good is this? What's the power and what situation just happened?
What's the
So,
blanking point? It's
right,
like
right.
you were circling the airport.
I was, yes.
Yeah.
And I don't like to fly, so that was a bad place to be.
Oof, oof. So very quick story about asking for an answer. I was driving here about 2 years ago, had a family situation, and I'm like, there's an answer. I know there's an answer. What's the answer? I'm driving. I'm thinking to myself, give me the answer. Universe, throw me the answer. It's there, but I don't know what the answer is. And I really didn't. I stop at a stop sign a mile and a half from right here. And the Beatles, Let It Be, drops into my head. And I think in music, because I played music on the radio forever, still do. Still do a radio show. And I'm
Oh,
like,
that's cool.
what? I don't understand. I like the Beatles, respect them. I'm not like devout fan. Why is this? What's going on here? And the lyrics are, there will be an answer. Let it be. So I'm like, eh. I drive here, walk through that door, standing right here. 5 minutes after that song dropped in my head, phone rings. It was the answer.
Huh.
It was the answer. I'm like, oh, okay. Um, and side note, in the lyrics is Mother Mary comes to me, and my mom's name was Rose Mary. So I was
Oh
like,
my goodness.
I wonder if there's a connection. I could go on forever on those connections, but
Oh, for sure.
I looked into it, and I thought it was a biblical reference Paul McCartney made. His mom's name was Mary.
Oh, I
And I have since put those lyrics on the wall of the office right back of me. But
love
yeah,
that.
I know it's woo, but throw it up there, ask for
That's
it.
right. Yes.
What do you have to lose? You might get a little bit of clarity wherever.
And you usually do get the clarity.
Yeah, just got to be open to it.
You did that, and that's another thing. You need to be open to it. That's why I say play with the questions. Don't just stop.
Mm.
And plus it's more fun because you'll come up with things you didn't even think you could think of because you get stuck in, your
Well,
own.
you get stuck in the same lane on the
Right,
highway, and you
right.
never, let me change lanes and go over here. Let me go over here. Maybe a little bit faster. Go around the cars over here. You're staying in the same lane.
Yeah,
Well, sometimes it's okay to change lanes for a little bit, i.e., ask a different question.
right.
You might get somewhere. You might get
Yep,
somewhere.
absolutely.
I wondered where this was going today, and now I get it. Now I get it. Now it's very clear. And it comes back for me the same thing in that we stay safe. We
Yeah,
stay safe and we stick to the same questions and we stick to the same methods and everything, and we don't move forward because we're afraid. We're afraid to move forward. We're afraid of the answer.
right,
Hmm.
right.
Wow. Thanks for sharing this today. And the airport analogy is just like very real. It's very real.
Oh, for sure. I liked
Wow.
it too.
Hmm. You just went from Phoenix to Seattle, California, and you don't like to fly.
I know. I'm trying to get over it. I'm trying to change my mindset. And that, it is. So when I flew out here last week, I get on the airplane and I always sweat. So I'm rubbing my hands on my jeans, trying to not sweat. And the lady that sat down next to me, she grabbed my hand and held my hand during takeoff.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I'm a flight attendant. And I thought, I picked the best seat on this plane to sit next to a flight attendant who can walk me through, talk me through. And we just chatted the whole flight and I didn't even think about it. So it was
She
fantastic.
she was there for a reason.
She was absolutely there for a
There's no
reason.
doubt. There's no doubt.
Yep.
Hey,
Yep.
side note, digression, but similar. Always afraid of blood tests. Like a real man, afraid of blood tests. I changed my mindset in the past year, okay, to a positive where I'm getting information. It's going to support me. Maybe it might not be exactly what I want, but I'm going to do something about it. And that refocus has made such a difference. But I'm bringing this up to address what you just said. The first time that I went to get blood drawn, where I've got this new mindset, and I'm just going to talk to the phlebotomist, and we're going to have a conversation, i.e., the person next to you, right, on the plane.
Right.
The conversation turned into metaphysical stuff like we're talking about here. The phlebotomist was so plugged into psychics and stuff that I'm into that I didn't even know she was drawing blood, because we were
Right.
talking about all this other stuff. Just like the flight attendant was supporting
Right.
you. She
Yeah.
was there to help
Yeah.
move me forward. I'm convinced of that. I feel that flight attendant inside of me, that she was there placed to help you get over that. You needed that conversation. You needed that support.
I did. And the fact that she grabbed my hand and just, she didn't, nothing,
She
she
knew.
said nothing. She knew. And yeah, I was definitely in the right place at the right time. So I was thankful for that. And the
Wow.
time went by quickly, and all of a sudden we were landing and we exchanged numbers, and all
Oh,
of a
cool.
sudden, yeah,
Wow. Awesome.
yeah, it was very cool.
Thanks for sharing that. That goes right back to woo alert, where
Uh-huh.
things are in your life for a reason. Accept them
Right. That's
Be-
exactly right.
and be grateful for them.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for you and what I learned today. How do we connect with you if we've got questions, right or wrong, or need to figure that out? How do we
I'll take
connect?
wrong questions too. I
Sure.
love it. I love it. Changes everything up. So cindyvalente.com is how you can reach me. And so thank you for tuning in. Until next time, stay present, stay intentional, and remember to just be it with Cindy Valente.
Love it. Thank you for today, and
Thank you.
have a safe flight back if we don't talk before then.
Yeah. Hopefully I sit next to another flight attendant.
Or just text me. I'll walk you through it.
There you go. I love it.
And I'm going to call you next blood test. All right.
Good. That's fine.
All right. We'll catch up next time.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.